What's up, everyone? Today we're going to talk about the difference between homework and studying. Have you ever wondered what the heck the difference is between studying and homework? Normally people would think doing homework is studying, isn't it? I mean, that's how much I studied. When your parents ask you, did you study for the night? And you normally say, when you're done with the homework, you normally say, yeah, I'm done with studying. But technically, there's a big difference between doing homework and studying. Let's find out. What is the difference between studying and homework? It appears the same everywhere in the world. First of all, it is important to understand the difference between homework and self-study. But what's the difference? What is it? Let's get to that. The meaning of homework is amount of work assigned by your teachers every day, right? That's what the definition of homework is. It's a part of learning the subject, but it's not usually called studying. There are two examples for homework. First, you can figure out what you don't know about what you learned. Second, you can imprint the brain by repeating the knowledge you have learned. Does that make sense? That's why teachers give you homework, to go back and repeat, study again what you learned that day. Then what is studying, right? Studying has all the purposes and effects of homework. It can be seen as a homework given to oneself. Something that assigns, work that you can give it to yourself. The work you assign to yourself, right? Take a typical math class as an example. During the class, teacher will explain the concept and solve the problems, and give the students additional questions and homework so that they can understand it. So students will review what they learned that day while doing homework at home. It makes sense, right? After a month has passed, the class will be dealing with a different subject, right? But let's say you want to go back and see if you remember what you learned, the subject that you learned a month ago. This time, you study for 40 minutes to remember what you learned and think again if you can remember all those equations. This can be called studying. Do you see where I'm going with this? Then how much time should you spend on studying? There are a lot of things you have to consider. How much time you need to spend, what grades you are in, what kind of goals you have, all those things. Then back to the question, how much time do you have to invest in studying? Most of the 7th to 10th graders have to study more than 4 blocks a week. 4 blocks a week, right? One block is about 40 to 50 minutes. I will explain about this block system a little later. Let me give you an example. Let's say you study one block every day from Monday through Friday, 5 days in a row, one block. One block is again 40 to 50 minutes, right? Maybe there are cases where you want to finish all of your studies on Friday. Put it off and then do them all on Friday. That's fine. It's all up to you. Since studying is very personal taste is the most important thing. So what is blocks? Study block is usually the time you set aside to study separate subjects. Most people call it a block for 45 to 50 minutes. Some studies have shown that our brains are saying after 45 minutes of work, right? It's a study to diminish the acceptance of information, so brain can't take it anymore. Usually at school, classes go for 45 to 50 minutes, right? And rest, take a break for 5 to 10 minutes. Then move on to the next class and so forth. That's how school does it too. You could apply the same method when you try to figure out the studying time. It's really the same idea as the study blocks. Even though you're physically tough enough to go over 45 minutes, it's not efficient if you do studying any longer than 45 minutes. After studying for 45 minutes, for example, take a break, then do another 45 minutes again. Studies show that doing it 90 minutes in a row is less efficient. At the same time, the study of very short blocks can be much less effective as well. The human brain learns the information to accept it and to remember it. A link is built between different information. If a brain starts to make these links, it needs some time to process it. Makes sense? In building these links, study blocks under 30 minutes may not be enough. It is at least 30 minutes. Preferably 40 to 45 minutes are said to be the most effective. What should you do to balance homework and study? We need to manage our time well to maximize efficiency, right? School teachers try to measure and calculate how much time you need to invest each night and try to give you a reasonable task to complete each day. Although sometimes we don't think it's a reasonable amount. But that's what they try to do, right? If you have a part-time job, spend a lot of time on extracurricular activities and come back home late, you have to manage the time much better than other people. You have to balance your homework and studying. Let me give you one example. If a teacher gave you homework in math class, suppose she gave you 20 math questions to solve. But if you say it took you about 2 hours to solve 20 questions, the first thing, that's a little too much, right? First thing you need need to do is to ask how long it took your friends around you. Compare yourself with how other people spent it the night before, how other people did it the night before. You have to compare it with the time it took you. Second, it may be a good idea to visit your math teacher and ask some questions. For example, you could say, teacher, my friends only took 1 hour. They only spent 1 hour doing that same amount of homework. For me, it took me double amount. What the heck is wrong with me? What am I doing it all wrong? Those things, something like that. The teacher may be able to give you some advice on what the problem is and what the trick is. Then you go from there. This is important message. People, if you are actually too busy with your homework to have time to study, generally, I would suggest to choose a shortcut to do homework. I recommend that you study a little more. This method is better than doing homework and not studying at all. As I said earlier, studying is about learning knowledge that has been sleeping while doing homework. It's a wake-up operation. So you need both. But if you can only have one, do homework with a shortcut, do homework fast, and try to do a little more studying for yourself, because studying is more effective. All right, one last thing that's important here. If you, let's say one night, if you spend time doing homework for 3 hours and study 2 hours, concentration and efficiency will be much better if you take several breaks in between. The essential element of good study is knowing when you need a break. Roughly, a good rule of thumb is to study for 45 minutes and rest for, 5 to 10 minutes. Sitting down, listening to music, walking around, talking to some people, whatever you need to do, eat something maybe. Rest for 5 to 10 minutes, then go back to work. How was it today? I hope you liked this video. I hope whatever I said today sort of makes sense and then give you some inspiration and motivation. We do need to study. Because studying is different from homework. I hope you got that right. I'd like to know your thoughts and comments. Please leave some comments and I will try to, if you have some questions, that too, I will try to answer best way I can. If you like the video, please share the video with your friends, sons and daughters, brothers, sisters, whoever is out there. Please share, especially high school students. Please plan things out so that you can kind of squeeze in some time for study. All right, that's all. Have a good day. Study a lot. Be smooth. I will see you in the next video.